taking you through today how to calculate the surface area of cylinders. So we remember that the surface area is the area of all the faces on a prism or a 3D solid added together. So for a cylinder, we've got our circle on the top and our circle on the bottom, as well as the curved surface around the outside. Okay, so the faces, if we have a look at the net of our cylinder, the faces make up one circle on the top, one circle on the bottom, and we find the area of a circle as pi r squared, of course. Okay, and then we have the curved surface around the outside of the cylinder, which if we can imagine unrolling that, if you can think of when you take the label off a can of tomatoes, okay, the label rolls out into a rectangle. So we have two circles in a rectangle. So the length of our rectangle actually goes around the entire circumference of the cylinder. So the length of the rectangle is going to be 2 pi r, which of course is the expression for the circumference of a cylinder. And then the breadth of the rectangle is just going to be the height of the prism. Okay, so we have two circles that have an area of pi r squared each, as well as a rectangle which has an area of 2 pi rh, because of course our rectangle is length times breadth, our length is 2 pi r, our breadth is h. So that gives us our surface area formula of 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. So 2 pi r squared because there's two circles. Okay, so I want to just show you how to quickly use that formula to help answer some problems. Now, the first one is really straightforward. Okay, so we've got a cylinder which is closed. So a closed cylinder has both a top and a bottom. So if you're not told any other information about a cylinder, you assume that it is closed. Okay, so it's just a matter of applying our measurements that we have on our cylinder into our formula. Okay, so of course I'm just going to write out the formula for us. Surface area equals 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. And look, I really recommend when you're solving problems for the first time to write out the formula as well, because it's going to help you remember that that's what you're using, and it's an easy reference when you're looking at how to use your measurements. So we've got a radius of 5 and a prism height of 25. So we've got our surface area is equal to 2 pi times 5 squared plus 2 pi times 5 times 25 in this case. All right, so that gives us 942.47777961, right? I'm just writing it all out because I do want to give you a reminder about rounding. So we've been asked to round to 2 decimal places. So that means I want to cut it off after the second number after the decimal point. And I need to decide whether this number here is closer to 942.47 or 942.48. Remember, we look at our critical digit, which is our next number, after we want to cut it off. That number is 5 or higher. In this case, it's 7. So that means that this digit changes to 8. So we get 942.48 square meters. Okay, and that is to 2 decimal places. Now, it's not crucial to write the number out in its entirety. I've just done that to show you how I get my rounded answer. But when you do write your answer, please make sure that you express how you've rounded it. So you're showing that, you know what, I've used my rounding skills and I've rounded it to 2 decimal places. Okay, so then I want to take you through an example that's a little bit more complex. Okay, and what we have here is a half cylinder. So it's a bad drawing, but I've basically got a half a circle at this end, or a semicircle at this end, and a semicircle at the other end. Okay, if I put in my little dot, oh, that should be dotted, and then a dotted line up here. Okay, so I've got half a circle at one end, I've got a semicircle at one end, a semicircle at the other end. So that means I have one circle on my half cylinder in total. And then I have half the curved surface. And then I've also got a rectangle on the bottom. Okay. So I'm not going to be able to use my formula straight off the bat here. I have to think about what it is that I've got. Half a circle here, half a circle here. That's one circle in total. So my surface area is going to be pi r squared, not 2 pi r squared because there's not two full circles, there's only one full circle. Plus I have half of the curved surface we were using before. So I've got half times 2 pi r h. Now you don't need to write it out like that because of course a half times 2 is simply 1. Okay, so you can just write it as pi r h because it's half the curved surface. Plus my rectangle on the bottom, which if I'm using my terms from my cylinder, my length of my cylinder is actually the height of my prism, which is 8. Oh, sorry, our height multiplied by the breadth of the rectangle is actually the diameter of the circle. So I'm actually just going to call that DH, right? So then I'd put the appropriate values into my formula that I have now created. Pi r squared. In this case, we're not given r, we're given d, diameter. So of course, r is half of 4, which is 2. So pi times 2 squared plus pi times r, which is 2, times h, which is 8, plus the diameter of the semicircle, which is 4, times 8, which is 32. Pop that in my calculator, and I'm going to get something along the lines of 94.83185. Okay, again, you don't need to write this whole number out. I'm just showing you rounding reminders. Okay, so to 2 decimal places, we've been asked to show our work to. So I'm going to chop it there. Underline my critical digit. My critical digit is low, so it's 4 or lower. So that means the 3 is going to stay as is. So we have 94.83 square centimeters. And of course, to 2 dp. dp, of course, is the short way of writing decimal places. Hope that was really helpful. Give it a thumbs up if you were able to grab something from that. You can always comment below and ask me to cover something that you're not sure of. Otherwise, subscribe to my channel and you'll be notified when I upload new videos.